Hi everyone, this is Don Giannetti from lighting-essentials.com and project52prosystem.com. This is a third in an ongoing series of what makes this photo great. I'm doing them once a week, and I'm looking at commercial and advertising and editorial photographers, not art photographers per se, but those people in the commercial realm that sometimes don't get spoken about very often. However, this particular photographer has been, I think, one of the greatest influences in commercial photography ever. This is Bert Stern, the original. If you have ever seen the movie Madman, Bert Stern was the original Madman. There's a video called The Original Madman, Bert Stern, and I'll link to it down below in the description, but it's a story of his incredible life as a photographer. And to say that he created much of what we see in commercial photography today is not an understatement. Bert was an amazing leader in this business. We're going to start with this picture of Twiggy and why I think this is an incredible photograph. Notice the cropping. Notice how he cropped so tight in this picture, right into the head and right below the chin. If you don't know who Twiggy was a very thin, very tall, very young model from Britain that came over and started the trend towards very thin, gangly models back in the 60s, very early 60s. Household word. I mean, she was everywhere. This was shot for the New York Times, and everybody wanted to get their shot at Twiggy. Big eyes, her little crooked smile. She was a fashion icon. Look what Bert does. He takes the face and he turns the face into a sculpture. It's an iconic moment. You'll also notice, by the way, that there was no Photoshop back in those days. Little imperfections on the skin are left. Little lines around the eyes are left. And they create, I think, a very remarkable point in time, not only for this young lady, but for fashion photography, for commercial photography in and of itself. This was a blockbuster photograph when it was taken, and so many other photographers started to emulate. Bert Stern would come in close. I think if there's anything that I learned from Bert Stern when I was, and he was a photographer really before my time, actually, but anything I learned was to come in close and isolate. It's just really, really amazing what he did here. One of my all-time favorite photographs, a Twiggy by Bert Stern. Let's look at a few more of Bert Stern's images just so you can see what I mean when I say simplify. Check out this one. Christmas lights around the model against a lit background. Notice the simplicity and notice the arm going out of the frame and back in with the hand. Just a beautiful design through here. What makes it interesting is, of course, the light. The little lights lighting up here. And again, remember, this is pre-Photoshop. These little battery-powered earrings and battery-powered lights around her neck. If they're battery-powered, they may be plugged in. I don't know. They definitely weren't solar, okay? A long time ago. I think this shot is, I want to say 62, something like that. But notice how he totally isolates the important part of the face here. And by bringing the hand back in, he eliminates this big space that would be happening on this side. He brings it back in and accentuates the model's beautiful profile and her neckline here and the beautiful jewels around her neck. It's a simple photograph done with very simple, I guess what we would call gels today, but it is an iconic photograph also from the day. Talking about iconic, Bert Stern was one of the last, if not the last, photograph, or made the last photograph of Marilyn Monroe. was one of the last photographers to shoot her. And that session, which has been made into a book, I believe, is called The Last Session, The Last Sitting. The Last Sitting with Marilyn Monroe. This is not from that shoot. It's a standalone image of Marilyn Monroe, and isn't it so, I don't know, intimate, so to speak? I mean, so many pictures of Marilyn Monroe were made with the smile and the seductive look, and it was almost cliche. She was known as the seductress. I mean, she was seduction of the day. And Bert captures her so differently. I love the fact that the light is wrapping back around. You see the little flare coming back here? I love this. It's almost angelic in a way. Just an incredible image. Black and white. Bert Stern shot a lot of black and white. That was so much of the day. If you get a chance to see anything from The Last Sitting, again, I'll have links down below. You can take a look at it. Really an amazing thing. And I think so intimate with he and Marilyn, it was just the two of them, that it sort of had a little foreshadowing of the end of her life, which was about a month later, a month after the photographs were made. But like I say, this is not from that set of photographs, a little bit earlier. Really, truly great shot. Let's look at another portrait here of Louis Armstrong. We looked at a Louis Armstrong portrait last week. This is Bert Stern's take on Louis Armstrong. He's got the trumpet in there. But again, look at the cropping. Can you hear the people on Flickr right now going, oh, it's too tight, you cut off his head? No, I'm right. No, this is the shot. He just got it right down into the that's it. That's the shot right there. Louis's smile, his eyes, and the trumpet. His great hands. This is just a classic Bert Stern portrait, and so incredible. So incredible. There's just nothing in this photograph that isn't purely perfect. Everywhere through it. I love Louis Armstrong's big smile. Look, his eyes are smiling. It's not a forced grin. He's really enjoying himself. The trumpet looks great coming right up through the corner here. We just see enough of the trumpet to know that it's a trumpet, and we see those hands and the face. Tightly cropped. Tightly cropped. I think that was a big part of Bert Stern's work. We're going to look at now probably one of the most iconic photographs taken in the world of advertising. It was Bert Stern's, I guess, calling card, whatever you want to call it, swan song. It's the image that he's most remembered for, and it's a Smirnoff vodka ad, the driest of the dry. Now, for us photographers in 2021, imagine this. He sells the client on, if we're going to do this shot, it has to be the driest of the dry. The ad agency says, okay, we'll go for that. He says, but the driest of the dry is in the Sahara desert. The client goes, can't we find something place closer? Bert says, no, this is the only place to go. So Bert and two assistants fly to Cairo, get up in the morning and set this glass of, I imagine it's vodka, could be water, here in the sand, and gets the inverted pyramid in the sand. There's no way we would talk an ad agency today or a client in today to spend the money to fly us to Cairo to take a picture of this. They'd say, oh, just go get a stock shot of the pyramid and Photoshop it in. And we probably could Photoshop it in. And there's a part of me that thinks we could Photoshop it in maybe even better than Bert shot it. When you're Photoshop, you can do anything you want. But it's just a miraculous image, and it started a trend in commercial photography that hasn't quite ended yet, but I think the heyday of that is over due to budgets and things, but of this very hyper real concept the concept of the ad became, instead of just shooting a bottle of vodka, which they would have done, earlier than this, instead of just shooting the product, Bert sold them on an idea of the product. And that's where we've gotten here. That's what followed. Photographers, ad agencies, designers all over the world began doing this more. He wasn't the first, but he was one of the first to do it so big. And then the idea of the ad became important. You've heard the term sell the sizzle, not the steak. Well, Bert Stern was one of the original sizzlers of the day. He wanted to do the sizzle because he knew that would sell. You can't sell vodka. I mean, when it's clear liquid, you can't taste it in an ad. You got to sell them on something more than that. And he did it. But anyway, Bert Stern, one of the legends in the commercial photography business, somebody I think you should look up. There are links down below. If you like this content, hit the subscription button. I don't care about the bell. That's up to you. But the subscription button lets you know when these videos come out. And I'm trying to make them come out on Monday. However, I will confess, having a little trouble with YouTube. I put the video up. It doesn't show for like 2 days. So we're going to get ahead of it. I hope this does indeed come out Monday morning. That would be January 18th. So thank you all. I'll see you next time.